Tonight, there is breaking news as we come on the air. Federal agents in masks raiding farms, smoke canisters used against protesters. The images coming in at this hour, those masked federal agents launching immigration raids on 2 California farms. Protesters blocking agents in the street. Flashbangs heard behind a reporter from our station KABC. We'll have the latest. Also tonight, the major tunnel collapse, more than 30 workers trapped 400 feet down, and then the incredible escape. You'll see how they got them out. Tonight, our team with rescuers along the banks of the Guadalupe River. And this evening here, what we've now learned about the code red alert and when it actually came, hours after that flood emergency began. Tonight, the dangerous storms along the East Coast and the new flood threat at this hour, and tornado and severe thunderstorm watches in the Midwest. We'll have the forecast. Tonight, a federal judge issuing a new nationwide order blocking President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship. Tonight, nearly 1 year after the assassination attempt on then-candidate Donald Trump, 6 Secret Service agents have been suspended. What we've learned about the suspensions. The stunning attack in the Red Sea, Iranian-backed Houthi rebels sinking a cargo ship, 22 crew members on board. We have learned at this hour there are survivors. Tonight, the Delta passengers headed to New York City, stranded in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean on a small island. Tonight, the new drug just approved by the FDA for your dog. Could it be a game changer? The major upset at Wimbledon, the American star advancing to her first ever Grand Slam final, and the other American who could be on his way. And tonight, the new Superman one-on-one with our Will Reeve. Will, of course, Christopher Reeve's son.
Is this weird for you?
Tonight, Will's own cameo in the movie, and you'll see it here, and the new Superman on the legacy of Christopher Reeve.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Thursday night. We do begin tonight with breaking news, a major immigration raid unfolding, masked federal agents raiding 2 California farms just north of Los Angeles at this hour, clashing with protesters who quickly gathered, men lined up against a wall under heavy guard. The dramatic images coming in at this hour, scores of agents on the road between 2 fields, tossing smoke canisters toward the crowd. The chaotic scene on the ground, flashbangs heard from our reporter right there on the scene. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky leading us off on these raids now underway tonight.
Tonight, a dramatic scene northwest of Los Angeles. Protesters clashing with masked federal agents conducting immigration raids at a cannabis farm in Ventura County.
They have a lot of personnel. I think there's like almost 100 people down there. Yeah, they got K9 and everything.
Crowds quickly gathering.
Oh my God!
The federal agents setting off smoke canisters and irritants to disperse them.
Right now they're popping off tear gas canisters and folks are just running like crazy and it's just chaos out here. I'm gonna have to get out of the way, folks.
Dozens of men lined against the wall, heavily armed agents standing guard. At least one person is seen kneeling on the ground, seemingly under arrest. Another large-scale immigration raid in nearby Santa Barbara County targeted a second cannabis farm owned by the same company. Last week, President Trump told a crowd in Iowa there would be carve-outs to allow farmers to vouch for their workers.
Because we don't want to do it where we take all of the workers off the farms. We want the farms to do great like they're doing right now.
This week, the Secretary of Agriculture said there would be no amnesty for any farm workers.
So no amnesty under any circumstances. Mass deportations continue, but in a strategic and intentional way as we move our workforce toward more automation and toward a 100% American workforce.
Tonight, Border Czar Tom Homan saying the administration is still talking about farm workers.
I can tell you that there's a lot of people talking in here. Department of Labor, Department of Agriculture, Department of Homeland Security, talking about options. Nothing's been settled.
This kind of immigration enforcement is not only drawing crowds like we're seeing tonight, David. Online, there are calls for violence with the goal of trying to stop these raids. David?
Aaron Katersky leading us off tonight. Aaron, thank you. Now to the terrifying scene, a major tunnel collapse. This happened 400 feet underground, more than 30 workers trapped, some 5 miles from the entrance to the tunnel. That scene playing out in LA County. It took hours, but then the remarkable moment, they got the workers out. They were lifted up by a crane right there. 31 in all. You can see them walking out unharmed. Firefighters rushing to the scene, prepared for what could have been a mass casualty event. The first word from officials, we were lucky. Tonight, ABC's Kayna Whitworth with the harrowing moments here. Those 31 workers trapped 400 feet down.
Tonight, this massive sanitation construction site now closed after a frightening tunnel collapse in Los Angeles County left more than 24 workers trapped 400 feet beneath the ground.
There was a location that squeezed the tunnel and forced it to partially collapse.
Calls coming in just before 8 p.m. Wednesday at an industrial area outside of Long Beach.
The tunnel lining failed approximately 5 to 6 miles in.
The men operating this tunnel boring machine at the time, and a pile of debris some 14 feet high blocking them from the tunnel's entrance. Hundreds of first responders racing to the scene overnight. Less than 2 hours later, the workers able to free themselves and walk some 5 miles to reach rescuers.
The workers had to climb through debris. They had to make themselves out through, and then rescuers actually came to them to assist them out.
Finally emerging in groups of 8, lifted to safety inside these metal yellow baskets hoisted by a crane.
Those on the ground level here heard a boom, and it shook the ground. There's now a complete work stoppage here, and behind that white Dragados building, you can see the entrance to the tunnel. They had completed 6 of the 7 planned miles of tunnel, which runs underneath residential communities, parks, and other public right-of-ways.
And tonight, those rescued workers back home and safe.
Fortunately, none of them suffered any major medical issues or injuries as well too, so that's part of the miracle too.
And David, ground monitoring systems here detecting no other problems so far, but the sanitation district telling me that tunnel has one way in and one way out. And had those workers not been able to scramble over that debris field, this could have been an entirely different scenario. David.
No question about that. We're just glad they're okay tonight, and what a rescue effort. Kayna, thank you. Next tonight, the storms in the east and the tornado watches in several states at this hour, part of the severe weather in the Midwest, and this new flood threat in the east. 12 million Americans on alert at this hour. The Boston area, look at this, already getting up to 7 inches of rain. That's part of I-93, shut down for a time. One worker knee-deep in the water. The images from Milton, Massachusetts. Meteorologist Danny Beckstrom from our New York station, WABC, is tracking it all for us tonight. Danny, great to have you, and what are you watching tonight?
The flood threat remains the headline, David. While the rain that brought the flooding to Boston has wrapped up, it's not the case in the mid-Atlantic. A flood watch remains in effect for parts of North Carolina and Virginia, where continued downpours can add an additional inch or 2 of rain tonight. And remember, parts of this area have already picked up a ½ foot of rain this week, making it that much easier to trigger flash flooding. Flooding could also be an issue tonight in Iowa as a more widespread severe weather risk ramps up in the Midwest. A tornado watch in effect for a portion of Nebraska and Iowa until 10 p.m. local time, as well as a severe thunderstorm watch that includes Denver through sunset. The severe threat shifts east to the Great Lakes tomorrow, with major metro areas like Detroit, Chicago, and Kansas City running the risk for damaging wind and brief tornadoes. David?
Danny Beckstrom, our meteorologist from WABC, with us tonight. Danny, thank you. We turn next tonight to the exhausting search for the missing in Texas Hill Country. At this hour, 166 people are still unaccounted for. At least 121 people are now dead. And tonight we have learned about this code red alert that many residents had signed up for, and when it actually came, for many, several hours after the emergency unfolded. Trevor Ault from Texas Tonight.
Tonight, the agonizing search efforts in the Texas Hill Country. Officials say there's 166 people still missing, the number barely budging in 48 hours.
This is the kind of terrain that these search crews are dealing with, a flipped over vehicle, all this debris that's piled up high. We have a rescue crew right here. They've got a dog with them. They say they've been at it since day one, and in that time they have found 2 people.
The death toll now up to 121 as officials respond to new questions about delayed warnings. Our affiliate KSAT obtaining a recording of a first responder at 4:22 a.m. asking a dispatcher to send out an emergency alert.
The Guadalupe Shoemaker sign is now underwater on Highway 39. Is there any way we can send a code red out to our Hunt residents asking them to find higher ground or stay home?
Stand by. We have to get that approved with our supervisor.
That code red sends a pre-recorded message to residents who signed up for the warning service. According to dispatch audio, it wasn't sent out until 90 minutes later, and some people didn't receive it until 10 a.m. Today, officials promising a review of the entire emergency response.
Our city of Kerrville and Kerr County leadership are committed to a transparent and full review of processes and protocols.
I mean, this is just wreckage.
Jeeper Ragsdale says he woke up to a call from his sister Jane, the co-owner of Heart of the Hills Girls Camp. The camp was not in session, but she was there, the water rising inside her home, and she was trapped.
She told me, she's like, it's already at the bed. I can't get out. It's like, break windows out. Just get out. And she did it.
Jane died in her home, much of her beloved camp now in ruins. But Jeeper says her phone call gave him enough time to save people on his own property.
A lot of people got saved. And some of it was because of Jane.
And David, more teams from around the country are on their way here to help in Texas. Search crews have been using sonar, drones, and chainsaws, and officials are urging residents not to disturb these giant piles of debris because there could be victims inside. David?
Yeah, the gruesome search continues there, and we're thinking about all those families again tonight. Trevor, thank you. Tonight, a federal judge issuing a new nationwide order blocking President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship. Of course, it comes just days after the Supreme Court cleared the way, then a class action lawsuit, and what they're now arguing. Here's Rachel Scott.
Just 2 weeks after the Supreme Court gave President Trump the green light to move forward with his ban on birthright citizenship, tonight a federal judge blocking the policy yet again. The High Court determined federal judges could not issue sweeping nationwide injunctions against many of Trump's policies. But the plaintiffs in today's case worked around that ruling by filing a class action lawsuit on behalf of all children born in the United States after February 20th.
People telling us that they're considering changing where they're going to deliver their babies, moving away from their doctors, their communities, worrying about their families being torn apart.
The president has said he's prepared to enforce the ban.
Hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason.
But the administration has still offered no details on how they would put the ban into effect.
Tonight, the White House is vowing to fight this ruling, and the plaintiffs in this case hoping that it makes its way back to the Supreme Court so the justices can decide once and for all whether a ban on birthright citizenship is constitutional, David.
All right, Rachel Scott at the White House again tonight. Thank you, Rachel. Tonight, nearly 1 year after the assassination attempt on then-candidate Donald Trump, we have learned that 6 Secret Service agents have now been suspended. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, for the first time, the Secret Service revealing that it suspended a half-dozen agents for their role in the, quote, operational failure that led to a nearly successful assassination of then-candidate Donald Trump.
Take a look at what happened.
Sources telling ABC News those disciplined included supervisory level and line agents, with suspensions ranging from 10 to 42 days without pay. In the wake of the attack, which killed firefighter Corey Comparator and nearly cost Trump his life, the Secret Service faced withering criticism on Capitol Hill.
Fairly, people sir, who are dead.
Today, the agency again admitting to a stunning list of mistakes, including a failure to properly coordinate with local authorities, a failure to secure that rooftop with a direct line of sight to Trump's podium, and anti-drone technology that malfunctioned.
We could have maybe stopped him.
Tonight, the agency announcing a number of reforms ranging from improved information sharing with local authorities to better training and deployment of technology, David.
Pierre Thomas live in Washington. Pierre, thank you. Overseas tonight, Iranian-backed Houthi rebels launching new attacks on merchant ships in the Red Sea. Take a look. They've released this video that they say shows explosions and the sinking of the Magic Seas on Sunday. Then 24 hours ago, claiming they sank a second ship, the Eternity Sea. The ship's security company says 4 on board were killed on that ship. 7 were rescued after spending 24 hours in the water. Authorities say 14 are still missing tonight. When we come back here, the Delta passengers headed to New York City, stranded in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean on a small island. Also, the new drug just approved by the FDA for your dog. Could this be a game changer? Our Will Reeve with the new star of Superman tonight. And look at this, the owl perched on a tree, appearing to keep its cool. You'll watch this in a moment. There's a barrage of birds hitting the owl over and over again. Tonight, passengers on board a Delta flight were stranded in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean on a small island for 31 hours. The flight from Madrid to New York City forced to land on a small island in the Azores. Pilots reporting an engine problem. The passengers were allowed off the plane. Delta tonight apologizing for the inconvenience. Tonight, a federal judge in New York City sentencing convicted stowaway Svetlana Dali for hiding on board a Delta flight and actually flying from JFK to Paris. Dali behind bars for nearly 7 months, sentenced to time served. Surveillance video showing her sneaking by gate attendants without a boarding pass. Prosecutors say it wasn't her first attempt. The judge ordering a year of supervised release, saying she needs treatment for mental illness. When we come back here tonight, the new drug just approved by the FDA for your dog. Also, the major upset, the American star now advancing to her first Wimbledon final, and the other American who could be on his way. And Will Reeve tonight interviewing the new star of Superman, asking about his father, Christopher Reeve. To the index of other news tonight, the stunning upset at Wimbledon, American Amanda Anisimova advancing to her first Grand Slam final. The number 13 seed from New Jersey beating number 1 Arina Sabalenka of Belarus. She'll now face 8th-ranked Iga Świątek of Poland on Saturday. She could be the first American to win Wimbledon since Serena Williams in 2016. And if American Taylor Fritz wins in the men's semis tomorrow, it'll be the first time an American man and woman will be in the Wimbledon finals in more than 15 years. I think I advanced to Wimbledon finals just for getting through those names tonight. The FDA this evening approving a long-acting drug to protect dogs against fleas and ticks. Real promise here. The drug Bravecto Quantum is given by injection. It must be prescribed by a licensed veterinarian. Potential side effects could include muscle tremors and seizures. They say this new drug offers protection for up to a full year. And this image getting our attention tonight, take a look. An owl perched on a tree in Hunterdon County, New Jersey, sitting motionless while smaller birds test its patience over and over again, dive bombing, pecking away at its head, trying to scare it away from their nest. As you can see, the owl unfazed. When we come back here tonight, the new Superman one-on-one with our Will Reeve, of course, Christopher Reeve's son, and Will's cameo in the new movie. You'll see it right here. Funny tonight here, the new Superman taking flight, and he's one-on-one tonight with our Will Reeve.
Is this weird for you? I wouldn't say weird. I would say it's like it's a little surreal in some way. I don't know. It feels special.
It's special for me, too. Interviewing David Corenswet. He's the new Superman in the newest iteration of the franchise in theaters around the planet tomorrow.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Years before he was paralyzed and became a hero of a different kind, my dad, Christopher Reeve, was the first to play the Man of Steel on the big screen.
Excuse me. That's a bad.
A cornerstone character in American culture, Superman has won the hearts and stoked the imaginations of countless fans. I sat down with Corenswet to talk about his experience donning the cape and tights for the role of a lifetime.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Why do you think people have such passion for and strong opinions about Superman as a character?
Well, first, I think a lot of it is because of your dad. I mean, it's so rare that you have a character so effectively portrayed on screen, you know, that makes the actor a global movie star, and they become sort of inextricably linked. And then to have a circumstance in life that puts them in a position where they have a chance to play that part in their lives, but in a public way again, but in a way that feels separate from the film, but not separate from the character and the spirit of the character.
The Justice Gang has arrived on the scene.
And it meant something to me to film a cameo in the movie.
They're funded by the Lord Tech Corporation.
I play a journalist on a, let's just say, busy day in Metropolis. Before beginning filming, Superman director and DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn screened Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, a recent documentary about my father and family for the Superman cast.
It starts with the huge success of Superman and your dad's uncertainty about taking the role, leaving the theater, the criticism of sort of you're selling out and this movie's never going to work. I mean, like, nobody's going to want to watch a superhero on the big screen. And to think about my own dad, who I lost 6 years ago. I was very close with him, and in moments like this, you often think about he's missing out on this. What would he think about this? I felt so lucky to think of your dad in the same way that I think about my dad, which was sort of not approving of what we were doing, but certainly encouraging us.
Incredible. Our thanks to Will. Not a bad cameo in the movie. We look forward to it. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.